My name is Loenser. I'm from Cedar Falls, Iowa. It's a privilege for me to be here today. I have this up here by title, Chicago Bulls assistant coach, but I want you to understand that one of the big things about myself, and I think part of the reason why I got to a place that I never thought I'd be in my career or life, is because I've always strived to be well-rounded. I played baseball, basketball, football, and golf in high school. Okay, I played baseball at Iowa State University, but I also played cello. I played tuba. I was in the choir. I was in 4-H. I was my class president. I was a valedictorian in my class. Automatically, and I understand that I have something that's different about me, something that makes me unique. But what I want to get across to you today is that that's only part of my story. Okay? My arm is a part of me. It's not what defines me. Okay? Chicago Bulls, underneath my name. Sounds good. That's not what defines me. Okay? Ultimately, what I do is I wake up every morning and I attack that morning with the idea that I woke up, this is a gift, I'm going to make the most out of every situation I'm going to be in throughout that day. I don't know what lives I'm going to touch. I don't know what adversities I'm going to run into any day. But I know it's a gift, and I know that my worst day is someone else's dream. And if I put myself in that mindset every single day, then hopefully I become a great person, a great husband, a great father, which I have 2 girls, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, I'm happily married, but a great coach, a great person that's seen on the street, someone who treats people the right way. It's cliche. You're going to hear me say things that you've probably heard a million times, but it'll make sense. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And doors open up for you. Be a giver, not a taker. When it's all about you, and it's all about taking, then when you hit rough parts in your life, then everybody pulls back and no one else to help you out. Because you pushed them down, you've suppressed them, you've taken care of yourself. But the people that are givers, the people that have outside of themselves in mind, are the people that have more friends, that have more people to lean on, that help them through those times that we all have in life. Whether it's something visual, like what I have, or something that you don't even know about me yet. Okay? So I just wanted to start there, just to give you a little bit of where I'm coming from. I'm happy to be here. But if it's just about my arm or the Chicago Bulls, then I've failed everybody in this room. This is about making the most of who you are every single day and never stop. So I'm a big believer in this. I coach basketball. We'll talk about my career a little bit. I was also a teacher. Okay? I went to college to be a teacher. I believe coaching is teaching. Okay? I'm about getting better, maximizing whatever tools that are in your toolbox. And we'll talk about that, but the biggest thing is we're born a certain way. Not everybody is 6 feet tall. Not everybody has blonde hair, blue eyes. Not everybody is a male or a female, right? We're born a certain way. Do you have any control over that? No. The person next to us is different from us. We're all special. We're all unique. The tools that we're born with, we can do nothing about. But I'm a big believer in whatever tools you have, you maximize. And every single day, every single opportunity, you should be trying to add more and more tools to your toolbox. If you're not doing that, if you're not moving forward, if you're complacent, if you're worried about what you did yesterday or the things you don't have, you're not moving forward. You're not acquiring tools. You're not maximizing your potential. I get scared of the word potential because potential means we haven't reached it yet. We all have potential. What is your ability? What are you doing to make whatever your ability level is higher? Potential sounds great, but that doesn't mean anything. I work in the NBA. We draft people. people get drafted based on potential. What does that mean? They have a high ceiling. But how can you explain to me someone who was drafted 4 years ago, a guy named Anthony Bennett, who was the #1 pick in the draft, and a guy named David Nwaba, who some of you probably never heard of, who went to Cal Poly, wasn't drafted, paid $150 to go to the D-League, made a D-League team, made $19,000, which to you might sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things in the NBA is nothing, to provide for a family and throughout a year. And all of a sudden he works his way up, so now he gets signed by the Cleveland Cavaliers after playing with us for a year with the Chicago Bulls, while this #1 pick in the draft can't get in the NBA. That to me is why potential is a very scary word. I told you I graduated first in my class. My ACT was 23. Okay? I looked online. Google's always right, supposedly, right? Supposedly, the average ACT score in here was 30. I don't know if that's correct or not, but we'll just go with it. Okay? 30. I took the thing 5 times. I tried everything, test preps, everything. Okay? I wanted to get academic scholarships to go to school. I was #1 in my class because my ACT score, which talks about ability, but also has something to do with potential to learn at the next level and things like that, wasn't as high. So I had to pay pretty much my whole way to go to Iowa State. Then I go there because they don't want to give me an academic scholarship, and I graduated the top 2% of my class there. Why? Was it based off of potential? Was it based off ability? Or was it based off of my drive or determination? Or you know what? I'm going to take the tools that I have, know that I'm not a great standardized test taker or whatever it may be, understand that I need to sit in the front, I need to be engaged, I need to be ready to listen, I need to take notes, I need to spend more time than other people do next to me. And it doesn't matter what that person next to me came in with or what they're dealing with, but I was going to make the most of whatever it was. Because my parents believed in me to get my education, helped me pay for my education, and I didn't know what I was going to end up with, GPA-wise, percentage of the class, job-wise. But whatever the opportunity was, no matter the day, no matter the school, no matter the situation, no matter the teacher, if they were the best or worst in the world, I was going to make the most of that situation. And over time, that worked out for me. So I want to go back to the skill thing. So right now, even in this 5 or 6 minutes that I've talked to you, something's happened. Roughly 350 people in here. If you're competitive, if you believe in accumulating more tools in toolbox and making the most of your potential, you're locked in, you're looking at it. You're not even, you're past hearing, you're listening to me. Because you know what, you're seeing value. Maybe not today, maybe not at this second, but you know what, this guy traveled from Chicago, someone brought him in here today to try to help you, meaning myself, if I'm sitting there. And maybe this will help me 10 years from now, 20 years from now, tomorrow, maybe at this second, maybe this is the exact thing that you needed to hear. But then the problem is, the flip side is, there's someone in here that's 350, who's already checked out, who's worried about the person sitting next to them, worried about their phone, worried about their boy or girlfriend, worried about what they're doing, just countless seconds to be out of here. And I say that because it's going to happen here. Not that you have to listen to me. It's all your choice. No one can force you to do anything. You could have the best teacher in the world. You could have the worst teacher in the world. No one forces you to do that. Picture your favorite speaker you could have thought of. No one can force you to listen to that person. I can't force you to listen to that person. That's what's great about being a human being. It's free will. I have a 3-year-old. I have to teach her right from wrong. My 1-year-old, I got a ways to go there still. We're trying to make sure she doesn't run into things and corner. But my 3-year-old, Okay, I'm just talking about this. I can't force her to do anything. I can teach her right from wrong. I can show her the right way. There becomes a level, I suppose I can put my 1-year-old in a cage. That would be one way of forcing at this point. But at some point in time, the free will is going to take over. And that's what's great about being human. But that's also what's scary about being human. My daughter's going to have someday date someone. My daughter's going to someday have to sit there and listen to a teacher and make the most out of the money that I'm working on now to put her through school. But no matter how hard I push her or try to tell her, it ultimately falls at her feet to decide what she's going to make out of it. You've got teachers, you've got people in the community, you have people here that devote their lives to try and make your situations better for you. But at the end of the day, it still goes back to looking yourself in the mirror, like we talked about at the beginning of the day, and understanding, am I going to attack this, or am I going to take it for granted? So just like this speech, I want you to think about that. And if you can force yourself to lock in and know that about yourself, I hope it helps you. And if it doesn't, if there's one person in here that it helps them 5, 10 years from now, great. Okay? A couple things. So I've been reading a book. There's a guy named Tex Winter. There's a triangle offense. My buddy Boone back there likes Jordan. He likes the old Bulls. They ran the triangle offense. Okay? So Tex Winter wrote this book. And he quoted this guy here, and there's some great things in here. And the first thing that he was talking about was, with the right mental attitude reverses our blessing in disguise. I've talked about it a little bit. This is how I was made, this is how I was born. I thought growing up until I was 33 years old, I thought that my umbilical cord got wrapped around my arm, and like a rubber band, if you put it on too tight, lost circulation in my mom's womb, and so on. Okay? That's what I thought. I didn't know. I had no idea. 33, I talked to an arm specialist. They thought that there's something in the developmental process that somehow there's not oxygen getting to this part of the arm. This is actually the most common birth defect when it comes to one-armed people below the elbow on their left side. Great. Could care less. Why do you have brown hair? Maybe you care, maybe you don't. Why are you taller than him? Now, okay, that sounds good, but the bottom line is, I have one hand. Once again, it's not what defines me, it's something about me. You know what? I feel lucky, because when I grew up, every 6 months, you know how you go to the doctor, you go to the dentist to check on things. I went up to the Shrine Hospital in Minneapolis. That was the closest one to me. And I went up there, and there were people that had no arms. There were people there that had one leg, no legs, wheelchair. I was playing baseball for Iowa State. I got a call. I was 20 years old at the time. I got a random call from someone trembling. It was in Louisiana. He said, he's stuttering. I can't even hear what he said. He said, my name's Will. I lost my arm. And I'm like, what? Out of Louisiana, he saw an article about me because I was playing for Iowa State. One of his family members saw him. He lost his arm in a farm accident. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. This guy has to relearn how to restart his life at 18. I made a video for him. How I tie my shoe, how I bench press, how I put my deodorant on, how I put my shirt, how I button my shirt. Things that I had even taken for granted. I'm going to worry about the fact that you guys have more hands than me. Like octopus, you got too many hands. It's confusing. I've been asked this a lot of times. I played sports, I love sports. New technology. Do you want another hand? No. This is who I am. This is what makes me unique. This is what makes me special. And luckily, I've embraced that from day one. So, This is my blessing in disguise. I've always had eyes on you. I've had forums like this where people are interested about me and my path and things like that. Well, guess what? With that comes a lot of pressure. Because stereotypes come in all sorts and different ways. If I was sitting on the sideline, bad posture, worried about myself, I hate to say it, I didn't run track, I didn't do soccer. Why? Why do you think? I was fast. I stole 60 bases, 60 out of 63 bases my senior year in baseball, which is pretty good. I was a wide receiver in football, pretty fast. I didn't do those two sports. Why do you think that was? Because that was the easy way. I felt like I had a platform that, you know what, if I could overcome this, do this, and you with 2 hands, me with whatever I have, if I could beat you in baseball, basketball, football, golf, great. We play soccer and we're just kicking at each other, I've taken a shortcut. Right, wrong, or otherwise, that's how I created my situation. And that drove me to be the best at whatever it was. I trained that way, I competed that way. I treated people that way. So when I was sitting in church in pews like this, and there was a 4-year-old behind me saying, "Mommy, Mommy, what's wrong with his hand?" Or, "Ooh, ooh." I had the choice to really get frustrated about that, be embarrassed, or try to, you know what, do you want to look at it? Do you want to touch it? Guess what? I can tie my shoe. I used that as a platform to try to help someone who never ever probably had seen someone like me. Parents would get embarrassed for their kids. This is a blessing. This is a blessing to me. I am very, very fortunate to be who I am, and I'm very thankful for who I am. We grow through obstacles. Okay, I told you about, I love baseball. Okay, I played baseball. I used to wear a prosthetic. I told you I played cello and things like that, a prosthetic. You've seen, like I started, I had like a claw that kind of opened and closed. Then they had new technology, it switched. Actually, before it looked like a hook. It just was a rubber band and it was a hook. My arm, the prosthetic, was a little like, think of a wooden clog that would fit around my arm. Then there were cables that would go behind my shoulder blade. There would be a circle in the back, and then I had a harness on my right arm. And when I pushed my shoulder blade out, I could open and close my prosthetic. Okay? When I had the hook, which was a rubber band that just, when I pulled it, it opened, it wasn't very powerful. They switched it in 6th grade, they got new technology, and now all of a sudden it started to open and it could close. And they said, "Oh, you can crush someone's finger." I thought that was cool. I think that was kind of sweet. But the bottom line was, I had a lot more power with it. Okay? I batted right hand with the prosthetic, right-handed with the prosthetic. So I would hit, I had this big claw on there. But keep in mind, on a day like this, when it's 90 degrees, I had to wear an extra t-shirt, I had to wear an arm sock, I had this wooden clog thing on my arm. It wasn't very much fun. All I did is I hit the ball to the third baseman and run as fast as I could to first base. Worked very well for me up until about 8th or 9th grade, when people started hitting puberty and they could actually throw the ball from third to first base. Okay? Once again, I told you I was fast, but all of a sudden, 90 mile an hour, maybe not 90, but you get the idea. So I made a decision. We grow through obstacles. I was a very good fielder. When I was in the field, I would catch, I would have a glove on my hand like this. I would catch the ball, put it on my armpit, let it roll down, and throw the ball. Okay? So I was a very good fielder. I came up as a pitcher. I pitched too much. I wouldn't tell my coach how many innings I had pitched in my other league. Blew out my arm pretty early. But I, in high school, played every single position at the varsity level in a game. So first base, second base, third base, outfield, and second base were my primary positions. But I was a very good fielder. Okay? I was playing varsity as an 8th grader, which you could do in Iowa because baseball was in the summertime, so it was after the school year. And then I played as a 9th grader. But I wasn't getting many hits. I was a good fielder, I was a good base runner. My 9th grade year, I made the decision that this isn't going to work. So I switched from right to left-handed. without a prosthetic. So now instead I bat it like this, just with one hand. Okay? I tell you this because as a teacher or a parent told you to adjust something and you act like you just got like run over by a deer, it's like, no way. You know? So I switched from right to left hand. I batted .082 my sophomore year. It was like 3 for 31 and struck out like 26 times. Not fun. I would come home, I would cry in my room for a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? Get out there. So in Iowa they have storm glass doors. I don't know if you guys have those here. So in other words, there's a reflection on the front door. That's first door. So I just took my bat and I just went like this. Just cut after cut. Training my muscles, training my muscles. Batted .289 my junior year. If you're not a big baseball person, if you can hit 300, you're pretty good. If you're below 100, you like probably should pick a different sport. All right? 296. My senior year, I'm staying with it. I'm working at it. I batted .596. My on base percentage was .750. That means 3 out of 4 times I was getting on base. And I told you I stole 60 out of 63 bases. We grow through obstacles. That gave me, as I grew, as I got more confidence, it allowed me to really take off. Not only on the baseball field, but also the confidence to, like I said, be valedictorian, to talk to other people. I started going into elementary classrooms in my town and talking to them about my arm, things like that. And it gave me confidence to move past things. Nothing was given to me. I really had to work for that. So we really grow through these obstacles. To have a setback and to be able to offset it is a big satisfaction. How does that, my arm, tie into all of this? I started as a high school coach. Okay? I coached 1 year at my high school. I went to Ames. I coached 2 years as an assistant at Ames High School. There was a kid in 6th grade by the name of Harrison Barnes, if you follow NBA. He was a 6th grader. Okay, I was there for 2 years. From there, I went to the University of Southern Mississippi. I went to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, sight unseen, and coached there for 6 years. Okay? I worked for a very demanding person there. I missed Iowa. I was home 3 times in 6 years. One time was Hurricane Katrina, where I got to go home for a week, and that was it, but I was a little bit rattled, if you can imagine. Hattiesburg, Mississippi was 58 miles from the Gulf Coast. Everybody sees New Orleans. New Orleans was bad. The Mississippi Gulf Coast was awful. Okay, it's very wooded there. I lived a half mile from my house to the arena, which is where I took shelter in. I couldn't even get home because just like I picked up trees and threw them down on the ground. Okay, so bottom line is I went home 3 times. I moved back to Iowa. I restarted my career. I was in high school. While I was there, I taught the alternative program. Okay, what is the alternative program? You guys know? What do you think the alternative program is? What's that? Kids that are about 9 toes out the door and dropping out. 9.5 sometimes, maybe a toenail. The kids that no one wanted to deal with. Spent 3 years there working with these kids. All these things that I had learned about my arm, that's when you start to grow. And you start to appreciate, you know what? Maybe my life isn't great and it is always what I want it to be. And you know, we're going to get hit by some sledgehammers. But there's a lot of other people out there that, like I said, my worst day is their dream. So I spent some time there, and I coached high school. The problem was, I loved it. I loved making a difference with teaching, so I understand what you teachers are going through. I did miss coaching. You bringing me back in here to come to a school setting gives me a fix that I don't always get, dealing with older millionaires, which I still like dealing with. Okay? But what I had to do, though, is I had to restart my career. I went to Iowa State, that's where I graduated college from, and I went back to school as a 34-year-old GA, meaning a graduate assistant. I didn't have my master's, I wanted to go back and do that. Now, I had 6 years of Division I experience. Okay? Why did I do that? Because I got in a situation with people I believed in. It was a situation I knew I could grow in. It was a situation I knew would test me. Some of you are some of the brightest and smartest people in the world. You're going to have some choices to make as you go into the career profession. And they aren't always going to be easy decisions to make. But what I want you to think about is, if you get on track, and you get a situation and you attack it, no matter what it is, because you know what? Even though you're really good at something, there's going to be probably someone that you're working for at first. Someone you might actually be smarter than, or more talented in. But there's going to be some adversities that you're going to face in dealing with people and situations that are not going to be fair. It's not always going to be logical. So just because we're talking a little bit about physical, what are you going to do when you have to play the game of life? What are you going to do when you have to take an order or follow a direction of something that you really don't understand? Are you going to make excuses? Are you going to cut corners? Are you going to worry about the next job and do a bad job in the position you're in? Because I can tell you right now, if you're that type of person, no one's going to hire you. And if they do, they're going to fire you quick. So it's about being talented, but it's also about figuring out the situation you're in and being able to make the most out of it. The bottom line is I figured out that situation as a GA. It was humbling to be a 34-year-old GA. Okay? I worked for 2 years at Iowa State. I got the opportunity to go with Fred Webb, who was the Iowa State head coach, to the Chicago Bulls. I was a video coordinator for the Chicago Bulls for 1 year, head coach of the D-League team. So in other words, if you think of it almost like a minor league baseball, like the last step from NBA guys, then I got moved back up to be an assistant coach with the Chicago Bulls. There are 30 NBA teams in the world. I'm considered the 4th assistant on the Chicago Bulls, which means I'm in the top 120 of assistant coaches in the world. I did not play at a basketball level higher than high school. I was an honorable mention basketball player. All the things that I had worked on when I was your age, before your age, they apply every single day. And if you believe in what you're doing, and if you believe that you can do whatever you want to do, but most importantly, if you can believe that the situation you're in right now is the most important situation, then doors are going to open for you throughout your life. As a society, we think a lot about the next job, or the next day, or the next situation we're in, and we screw up the situation we're in right now. It's very important for you to understand the sense of urgency each and every day. Last thing I want to just talk about, because this book hits on a lot of things that I think have helped me. We've not only overcome that which has temporarily blocked us, but through experience we've learned to cope with a similar problem in the future, should another one confront us. I have a physical difference to me. Okay, some would call it a disability. Some people would call it a handicap. I hate that word more than any word in the vocabulary. I don't feel it's that. Once again, this is who I am, this is who I've made. One of the things I want to share with you, though, is how this mindset, though, has led into even my personal life. I'm married, okay? Okay, I told you that. So we were married in 2012, be 6 years in October. Okay? I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I lost 3 kids before we got our first one. Okay? Now obviously no one in this room should be thinking about kids or anything like that. But 3 kids. Second one, we went in to hear the heartbeat. Okay? It's supposed to be like the coolest thing ever, right? You see it on TV, you see it, oh, this is awesome, you're going to see the heartbeat. Went in. My wife, they're doing the ultrasound, can't hear anything. Oh, we'll just put it up on the screen. Maybe sometimes it's a shallow heartbeat. So the first time I got to see someone who I thought I had created, I saw the figure of my number 2, and it wasn't moving. No heartbeat, no nothing. So this arm that I have, or lack thereof, is nothing. What I dealt with my wife and myself, and continue to deal with, is something that not many people know about. And walking in, no chance any of you thought that about me. No chance. How would you know? So, I appreciate my 3-year-old. I appreciate my 1-year-old. I appreciate my wife. I appreciate the struggle I've been through. I appreciate people that no matter what they've had in their life are moving forward. I don't try and put myself on a pedestal. I don't get into the compare game and try and figure out if I have it better or worse than someone else. I hurt the same way people hurt. I celebrate the same way people celebrate. But I really try to have compassion and appreciation for every single day that I get with my family. Okay. Sorry, I got a little deeper. So, just in closing, because I want to open this up a little bit for you guys to ask some questions. I hope that's the thing. What do I hope that you learned today? You know, as I was driving up here, as I've been since last, what was it, Valerie, about last May? June when we talked? I don't know where you're at, Valerie, but when we set this up, and whether it was in the shower, whether it was on my 5-mile run I do every day to try and sort out my thoughts, as I was thinking about this opportunity I was going to have to meet people that I'd never seen before in my life. What are some things that I really want you to take with? And hopefully, and not 1 through 350, hopefully I've got as many people hanging on as possible, but don't ever judge. Don't ever stereotype. It's cliche-ish. Don't judge the book by its cover. It's cool, man. One-arm guy's coming here all the way from Chicago. He coaches for the Bulls. He's over from a lot. It was really weird seeing like pictures of me around your campus. You know, it's really cool. But that doesn't. That's only a part of me. That's only a part of my story. That isn't what defines me. And it's that way with a lot of people. That was one of the things when I was teaching alternative program, when people had given up on other students, you know, how would you react? If you were living in an apartment building and you found your mom strangled and raped, And the person who did it lived 2 floors above me. Because that was someone who I recruited at Southern Miss, who played for me, who played basketball there. And when he came to Southern Miss, had a 3rd grade reading level. So how can you judge someone just by a 3rd grade reading level without ever walking in someone else's shoes? Be careful. Be careful of how you judge people. Be careful of how you stereotype people. Okay? I think that's very, very, very important. And it'll help you a lot. Never limit yourself or others. This visual, what's a glass ceiling? Does anybody know what a glass ceiling is? Well, a glass ceiling to me just says, you know what, I'm gonna limit my ability, I'm gonna limit my capability. I'm not a big goal person. Your headmaster said, where are you going to be in 10 years? Right? You asked me that, right? Where are you going to be in 10 years? I don't know. I don't care. I care about today. I care about making the most out of the situation I'm in today. And like I said, where that leads me, what doors that opens, I don't know. 10 years from now, if you would have said I'm going to be the head coach or the assistant coach for the Chicago Bulls, after also being the head coach at my high school, after also being an assistant at my college. Been the head coach at my high school, coached at my college, Iowa State, and now I get to coach for the Chicago Bulls. My dad is from Illinois. I grew up a Chicago Bulls fan. Who gets to do that? Now, I did not have this goal. But with the mindset that I can do everything, but more importantly, that I can make the most out of this opportunity I'm in, then I can get to a place that maybe, who knows? Who knows? My career path, I went from high school coach, college coach, high school coach, GA, I mean, who knows? I'd be coaching here in a couple of years. That'd be pretty sweet, right? And if I'm here, I'm going to give you everything I have. I'm going to give my family everything I have. I'm going to push myself to be the best Nate Loenser that I can be. Because it's important to me. It's important to others. It's important to my family. It's important to my daughters. Because there's been a lot of people that have been important to me that have rubbed off on me to have the pride in myself, to do good. We hit on this, but this is something, I want to get a little bit, this last thing of attitude. I've had a lot of guys that have had, and gals that have had bad things. I'm a big believer in this. We were each put a paper in front of us, and I said, left side, just fold it in half, write everything that's good about you. Just write, right side, write all the bad things. I'm a big believer in this. When we hit adversity, when we get stressed, when life throws us curveballs, when we're legitimately getting the short end of a stick, like legitimately, like, okay, we could probably take this to trial. You know what? You're right. You're right there. You really, really got it. Where I am. But I'm a big believer that when we get in these modes where we get depressed, we get down, we get lonely, we stop moving forward, we start dreading looking in the mirror in the morning, we start dreading going to class, we start dreading our tests, we start dreading dealing with our parents, our situations in our life. We take that piece of paper, we fold it in half, and we only look at that right side. And I challenge you, if you can, flip that page over. Trick yourself. You know what? You're right. Those things aren't going away. But why don't we just focus on that page? Can you open it up? More importantly, can you just flip it around? The mind is very, very powerful. We're all very, 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 very smart human beings. We also have free will. I talked about that. Challenge yourself to choose to try to look at those positives. Life is not linear. It's not a straight line. It looks like this. You follow me? Okay, hang in there. Get through it. Push through it. Get that thing turned around the right way. You know? Figure out what you need to train this muscle between the ears to do what you want it to do, not get in your way. You do that. No one can make you do that. Detention, getting in trouble, a bad grade, a parent, a lecture. No one can do that like your brain can do. You fix it. And the last thing, and this kind of goes to this, choose to be happy. Try to force yourself to choose to be happy. My wife can't make me happy. Trust me. I can't make my wife happy sometimes. My kids can't make me happy. My job can't make me happy. Going to a baseball game and getting away from things can't make me happy. I'm a big believer I can choose to be happy. I can choose to put myself around people that make me feel better about myself. I can choose to put myself in better situations that I know I need to be in. I can choose to steer away from situations that I know I shouldn't be in, that are inhibiting my progress. But choose to be happy. Don't ever make it feel like someone has to make you happy. Don't be dependent like that. Take it on yourself. You know what? This is my life. This is my gift. Choose to make the most of it and choose to be happy.